productivity, winning strategies, and aligning employer-employee goals. If this sounds like something your business could use more of, then you've come to the right place. The Business Mechanic Show with your host, Vaughn Sigmund. Let Vaughn show you how to develop, improve, and jumpstart your business. So now, please welcome the host of The Business Mechanic, Vaughn Sigmund.
Welcome to The Business Mechanic Show. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, co-founder of Results Driven Leadership, where we help you fix your people problems. Today's topic. Came across a study this morning in my daily reading, about the generational gap in the workplace, how it's causing some issues, and how some studies are revealing it's reducing productivity. Got me thinking. Let's talk about that today. Let's get everybody on the same page. How can we do that? And I want to give you a no-nonsense guide to leading teams of all ages. So let's dive in this head first into this generational soup that's currently simmering in the workplace around the globe. Today's special is a closer look at how Gen Z navigates the waters with the Boom colleagues. It's a bit like trying to use a smartphone to fax a document. Possible, but certainly not intuitive. In the spirit of keeping things simple, as I try to do, and straightforward as I always do, let me share a bit of personal insight. As a boomer myself, obviously, when the wave of changes by the Gen Z generation first hit the workplace, my initial reaction, like many others of my age group, was less than enthusiastic. I got to tell you, they're so different from us. And to be honest, I found myself thinking, hold on, why fix what isn't broken? This new generation wants to change everything. They seem to challenge every norm we'd come to accept, and I'll admit, I was quick to label them as just a plain difficult group of people. But here's the thing. Over time, and with a nod to the principle of continuous improvement, I came to a realization. My opinions, however firmly held, aren't going to reshape the perspectives of an entire generation. And that first part of what I just said, how firmly held my opinions were. I've learned through the years that we need to hold our opinions loosely, because there's going to be times, there's going to be opportunities, there's going to be requirements that we reshape those opinions, reshape our perspectives. Quit telling the story we're telling ourselves. Take a look at it and see if there's not a more productive, pragmatic story you could be telling yourself. Because when you're stuck in that opinion, it's like trying to use a hammer on a screw. It's just not going to work. So I eventually shifted gears. And today's podcast is maybe to some of you boomers out there, how you need to shift gears. And Gen Z, I'm talking to you too, maybe some of the millennial generation. I want you to think about what I'm sharing today as well. And maybe you can change some perspectives. Open yourself up to a little more collaboration. So I, in my journey, started approaching these generational differences as not as obstacles, but as opportunities. Opportunities to learn, adapt, and ultimately improve the way we work together. That's my job, is to help people work well together. And it wasn't about conceding defeat. I didn't just give up and give in. It was about embracing a more user-friendly approach to collaboration, one of my favorite topics. Let me just get to this right now. There is a link in this podcast for you to take a free course on how to get in buy-in. It's a collaboration course. Take it. It's free. About an hour. It's a video course. Gobble it up. You'll learn something from it. Did I mention it was free? It's free. where I was headed before my mind went someplace else. There's a must for every leader to look at the environment, assess it, adapt, and make the appropriate changes. And in this case, I needed to acknowledge these unique contributions and these preferences that another generation that was very different from me bring into the place. And I needed to help people who worked with me, my clients, how to navigate that same thing. Now, the generational gap is more than just numbers. It's more than just ages, of course. Gen Zs, a few years ago, they make this grand entrance into the workplace. And they're not just bringing fresh ideas, but a whole new way of thinking about work. And oh, by the way, by 2025, that's expected to make 27% of the global workforce. Huge chunk. Better learn to work with this. But here's the rub. A recent LSE report, big survey company, backed by a comprehensive HR study, strongly suggests that the transition of these huge swath of generational Z employees into the workplace is not going so smoothly. The report throws up some very intriguing numbers. 37% of Gen Z and 30% of millennials, I don't want to leave you guys out, are waving the low productivity flag, contrast to the 22% and 14% of Gen X and baby boomers. See, baby boomers are at the lowest part of feeling like they are being very productive at work. Gen X, a little less so at 22%. But the 37% of Gen Z are saying they're very low in productivity at work. Just don't feel like they're getting much done. It's not helping you as a leader. You better recognize that and understand you've got to change your mindset. But before we jump to conclusions, it's crucial to know that productivity dips. The biggest dips, most pronounced dips, is when they were working with managers who were 12 years their senior. It seems age isn't just a number, a productivity factor. And if all of a sudden you as a leader in your 40s, 50s, 60s feel like things are really slowing down, I can't get as much done, these people just don't work very hard. Let's get a little deeper into that, because we need to create a two-way street of workplace harmony. Brian Driscoll, who's an HR consultant, very well-known HR consultant, makes a very compelling point in this article that I read. Both generations are dancing to a tune that neither one fully understands. It's not just about age gap. It's about differing attitudes towards work. Boom, there it is. It's attitudes towards work, including evolving technologies and communication styles that's to be from different planets. I'll get into more of that in just a minute. Us boomers have had much more job security and work as an identity mindset. Our work is our identity, our success, how we measure ourselves is how we achieve at work. And we're from a world where loyalty and pride in one's job were paramount. That's how we were judged, reviewed. It's how we stayed employed. And certainly when we look at time on the job between generations, boomers spent much more time, many more years in positions than Gen Z. Now let's contrast that loyalty and pride between the boomers, Gen Z, who've grown up in the shadow of economic instability, right smack dab in the middle of the Great Recession. And they view work more as a means to an end than an end in itself. They do not identify. They saw what maybe happened to their parents or even their grandparents during the Great Recession. How did those big companies they were so loyal to treat them? And do I want to be loyal that same way? Doesn't make sense. Why are they working so hard and not enjoying themselves? I want to enjoy myself. So work is more about paying for a lifestyle versus how we gauge our success in life. That's the one of the biggest differences. So let's bridge the gap. Here's a little simple guide I'm going to share with you in the spirit of Steve Krug's Make Me Think, great book. Let's simplify this. Here's a straightforward business mechanic, results-driven leadership guide on how each generation can make the workplace more navigable. This is not an exhausted list. This is some bullet points I wanted to point out today. So I'm going to start with you, Gen Zs. Value experience and recognize that your Boomer and your Gen X counterparts have a wealth of knowledge. The stories aren't just tales, they're lessons. Lessons that they can impart on you. You can retell yourself in your own language, learn and take something from that. And we have very different communication styles. So Gen Z, understand you're going to maybe need to adapt your communication. Not everything can be solved with a text. It can't be a Slack message. Sometimes a good old-fashioned pop-up, go in the hall and have a conversation so you can clear the fog. I see so many people get themselves in trouble by sending a Slack message or a text message, inter-office message, to whatever means, because there's no context, there's no emotion, there's no deep explanation, there's no body language, no facial expression. You've got to understand that your Gen X's and Boomer counterparts, maybe your boss, they're very used to another way. And I'm not saying 100% of the time you should go have a conversation, but sometimes it's better. If you sense it, you're going to have some sense about this. Better pick up the phone or go have a meeting. And Gen Z, my last point, seek purpose. Understand that while seeking purpose is noble, we have to also understand that the world's not going to change around you. So you have to respect existing structures. It's going to be wise on your part. How do you fit in? How do you adapt to it? How do you seek, understand, and make some kind of adaptation to it to make it work for you? Don't we all want harmony? We do. And Boomers, Gen Xers, you, my friends, need to embrace change. I talk about that a lot. There's a lot of folks in our age group that are very resistant to change. And let me tell you, we've seen more change in our lives than any other generations. And it's faster and faster. It's amazing. I love the time that we're living in. And I'm adapting to this digital world, this world of artificial intelligence. I'm using it more and more in my life. It's awesome. I'm taking courses. I'm getting certifications on it at 67 years old. I love it. I love it. So you all need to embrace the digital world and all the changes and how it can help you lead to new discoveries and new efficiencies. And also, get this and get it good. You can't control everything. I talk about that a lot. So you need to offer autonomy. They're not going to learn unless you allow them to learn kinesthetically. Got to do it themselves. And Gen Z, more than any other generation, values autonomy and purpose. So guide them. Let them take the wheel. And really important, we joke about this, but it's absolutely true. So please quit joking and take it to heart. You need to acknowledge that little recognition goes a long way. It's the rocket fuel to getting them to listen to you, to respect you, to trust you. Catch them doing it right. And it's not about constant praise, but it's about acknowledging contributions. No, you didn't get it when you were that age. I know it. Your feedback was raises, getting some numbers. The generation we're working with doesn't see it that way. They need to be told, they need a grade, they need a pat on the back, they need encouragement. Just acknowledge that you see them doing a good job. It's not going to kill you, and it's going to raise productivity. And then overall, generational friction in the workplace isn't a new headline. It's as timeless as the office coffee pot. Every generation brings its own flavor to the workplace, and it always is stirring up a blend of fresh ideas, new work styles. And yes, often, not always, a dash of tension with the established norms. But here's a nugget of truth. Getting worked up over generational differences is about as useful as trying to teach a fish to tap dance. It's an absolute exercise in futility. So stop it. Take it from a boomer who's been around the block for a few times, been working for over 50 years, been managing people for over 40 years. Our steadfast dedication to the job and our good old face-to-face chats are just echoes of the era we grew up in. Much like Gen Z's digital prowess, each generation is molded by the world they came of age in. And there's no right, there's no wrong. It's just different. I recently did a podcast on when being right and wrong. This is one of those times. So before you let out a sigh at a boomer's cautious approach to the latest app or a Gen Z's all-in embrace of remote work, hit the pause button. Frustration, your frustration on either side, it's a speed bump. It's a speed bump on the road to productivity and harmony. You can't just rewind the clock on the experiences that shaped another generation, but you can really choose how you engage with them. It's a choice you're making. Please try to determine how you want to embrace that. It's a fact. You can't change an entire generation. So how are you going to embrace it? How are you going to engage it? How are you going to adapt to it? How do you do that? Well, step one is embrace a mindset of acceptance. Think of it as swapping out your old scratched up glasses for a brand new pair. Suddenly you see that a variety of perspectives isn't a hurdle, it's your secret weapon. How do I utilize that to make things better around here? Many of you don't think like that. How do I take this power, this superpower, whether it's the wisdom, the digital knowledge, and turn it into a productivity weapon, a force multiplier? And you can embrace and adapt to that, open your mind to this. Think about building bridges, not walls. We need to swap judgment for curiosity, questions for assumptions, and watch those generational gaps start to look more like stepping stones to a path of more productivity and success. Believe me, this isn't about agreeing with every new friend or ditching your tried and true methods. It's about creating a space where respect in the name of the game is communication. Communication is the MVP of all this. Doing this, you're not just navigating through a generational maze. We're laying down the bricks for a more inclusive, dynamic, and let's face it, more interesting workplace. And for my fellow boomers and the vibrant Gen Z alike, here's a thought. Let's not make it any harder than it needs to be. The workplace is a melting pot of ideas, experiences, and yes, ages. By leaning into this diversity of age, not just tickling a box, we'll unlock a treasure trove of innovation, resilience, collective wisdom. So let's roll up our sleeves and dive into this together. Why not? After all, in the grand tapestry of the workplace, every thread, no matter its color or texture, plays a crucial part. So in wrapping this up, let's get on the same page. The mix and match generated in the workplace isn't just a phase, it's a new normal. And with this setup comes both the tricky bits and the golden opportunities to shake up how we team up, get things done. Collaboration. Open your mind. Change your perceptions. Hold your opinions a little more loosely, not a lot more loosely. Realize what you can and can't change. Accept a new mindset. Give yourself a nod to what each age group brings to the table. If you do that, we can set up our workplace to be more vibrant, welcoming, and get it on an A game. And here's the scoop. It's not about everyone marching to the beat of the same drum. It's about weaving together a rich tapestry of viewpoints that can drive our collective ship forward. So let's not settle for merely sharing the same space. Let's really gel. Tapping into the diverse strength across generations to craft a workplace that's buzzing with innovation, resilience, and inclusivity. Because when it comes right down to it, every single piece of the puzzle is vital. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of the Business Mechanic Show. If today's content resonates with you, then you're going to love what we have to offer. Not only will it sharpen your strategies, but it will also provide you an ROI that's undeniable. Remember, the best investment you can make is in yourself and your team. And the best part, prices start at just $47 per month, making top-tier coaching and training accessible for everyone. Check out our website, rdltraining.com, to discover more details on our programs and coaches. We have a link in the show notes to guide you there. Until next time, we're out of here.